Ok, buongiorno ragazzi, oggi sono qui con un altro ospite, con una ragazza che si chiama Lea o Lia, a seconda di come lo pronunciamo, spero di averlo detto correttamente. Lei è una ragazza estremamente popolare sui social, molto, molto forte, che ha tra l'altro una fisicalità impressionante, dopo parleremo anche di questo. Gareggia in IPF, se non ricordo male è stata campionessa nazionale 7 volte di fila e ha fatto un secondo posto agli europei nella categoria meno 76 kg nella powerlifting raw. È una ragazza molto molto completa anche a livello proprio di risultati sulle alzate e se non ricordo male, ma potrei sbagliarmi, dopo chiedo anche questo, mi sembra abbia gareggiato anche con l'attrezzato in passato, è uno degli argomenti che spero di riuscire a toccare. Come in altri casi l'idea è quella appunto di fare un po' una chiacchierata su come si allena, dopo magari fare dei piccoli riassunti delle risposte traducendole in italiano per chi ascolta solo la versione in italiano. Hello Leah, welcome.
Hi.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I think you already introduced a little bit myself. My name is Lea Schreiner. I studied sports at the German Sports University in Cologne. I also studied French, so I kind of understand a little Italian.
Oh, really?
Yes, but just a little bit. And I'm currently self-employed. I do online coaching. I sell training programs. I have a YouTube channel. And this year, I will launch a smaller project of mine, which includes releasing shirts. And as you know, I do classic powerlifting. I also did equipped powerlifting in the past. I did Olympic weightlifting also. And I am in the German national team, and I'm currently prepping for Europeans in 8 weeks. And I hold some German records in actually 4 different weight classes. So yes.
Are you competing right now in the 76 class?
Yes.
Okay, but you were lighter before, maybe. Am I wrong?
Yes, I used to compete in the old 72 weight class, but that was kind of hard because I'm not that small. I'm quite tall.
If I may, how tall are you?
I'm 1 meter and 74 centimeters.
Oh, you're pretty tall.
Yeah. But I look taller on the internet. People usually think I'm like 1 meter 82, and then they see me and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were taller." I think because I have long legs. So.
Oh, so you are a good deadlifter.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start. Let's talk about the way you're training now. So you told me you are 8 weeks out, right? So how are you training now?
Like right now I train 5 times a week. My coach would like to train that I train 4 times a week, but I prefer to train 5 times a week. And I actually just had the Europeans in December. So after Europeans is right before Europeans. So I don't really have an off season at the moment. But all in all, I would say training is good right now because training is a lot of fun. And after placing 3rd at the last Europeans in December, I thought it might happen that I would kind of burn out because I've competed 5 times last year. And I think that's quite a lot, especially if you're an advanced lifter. But right now it's fun, and after years I was in a transition phase. It was just less specific. I didn't do the competition lifts. For example, I did stiff leg deadlifts off the block. I did variations for squats, so no competition lifts, more bodybuilding stuff, and also light weights. And as of right now, I'm in a preparatory phase before I enter my competition phase for Europeans.
Okay, and the competition phase is how many weeks out?
I think it's gonna be I think I have 2 more weeks of this block, then I have a deload, and then it's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Okay. So how many squats a week are you doing now?
I squat twice a week.
Twice a week. Okay. And what about bench and deadlift?
Bench is 3 times a week, and deadlift is 1.5 times. So 1 time is competition deadlift, and 1 time is RDLs. So.
I'm taking some notes.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. Is this some usual split that you are? Let me say it again. The way you're training now, is it common for you to train like this all year round, or is it just because you are 8 weeks out?
Yeah, usually I train like this.
With the same kind of split?
Yeah, I think we did that in the off season too.
Oh, okay.
I'm fine with that.
And do you train squat and deadlift on separate days, on different days, or?
Yes, the competition lift on Mondays I have squat and RDLs, but my deadlift is like it's just deadlifts and accessories.
Okay. So let me translate a little bit and then we go on, ok? Ok, allora ho chiesto un attimino di farmi una panoramica a grandi linee di come si sta allenando adesso. Allora adesso lei è a, se mi ricordo bene, 8 settimane dalla gara, perché ha gli europei. E sull'introduzione che avevo fatto all'inizio ci avevo abbastanza indovinato, quindi praticamente propongo quello che avevo detto all'inizio. In questo momento si allena 5 volte a settimana, mi ha detto ridacchiando che in teoria il suo coach vorrebbe che facesse 4 allenamenti, ma lei ne sta facendo 5 e è diviso in 2 squat, 3 panche e lei ha chiamato uno stacco e mezzo, nel senso che fa uno stacco da gara, diciamo, e uno stacco rumeno che lo mette nel giorno dello squat 1, che è lo squat pesante, quindi lei mi ha specificato che lo stacco vero e proprio, che è quello che chiama 1, lo fa separatamente dallo squat, mentre il giorno 1 dello squat pesante è quello che fa anche lo stacco rumeno. Quindi probabilmente vuole dare un po' di enfasi al far bene lo stacco, che sarà sicuramente pesante, in un giorno separato, e poi fa 3 panche a settimana. Mi diceva che adesso essendo a 8 settimane, è in una fase di, non so come tradurla, di sviluppo, diciamo, per poi avere una settimana probabilmente di scarico e le ultime 4-5 settimane che sono quelle, diciamo, di picco vero e proprio prima della gara. Ok, so let's talk about squat. You told me you're training 2 times a week. Once, I guess, is competition style, and the other maybe some variation, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. On the first day, which is, I guess, the heavier day. Okay, how do you usually program it?
My coach programs it for me, but in the off season we actually just did front squats. I think that might be interesting. So we had one day where we had, I think, tempo front squats. The other day we had heavier front squats. And we did that, I think, for almost 3 months. And then we did a transition phase back to competition or low bar squats. And now we're doing low bar squats twice a week. Yeah, I think when I tell you a little of my past, what happened, it does make a little more sense. Almost 1.5 years ago, I underwent surgery because I partially tore my patella tendon 3 years ago. So I trained with that injury for 2 years. I always was in pain when I squatted. So when I pushed my knees forward, so my squats turned into a kind of ugly squat because my shins were almost vertical when I was in the bottom of a squat because I was in such pain. That injury occurred during a time that I was still doing Olympic weightlifting, but during that time I had very poor recovery. I almost didn't sleep at all. Like I slept very less than I do now, and I worked a lot. So it's more the circumstances that made this injury happen. And due to my injury, I had to change my squatting style. So as I said, I had almost vertical shins in the bottom of my squat. And you can imagine how little I was using my quads. And I was relying on my posterior chain and, yeah, quite frankly, also my willpower. And now, fast forward 1.5 years ago, so after my knee surgery, I had to rebuild my squat because 3 months after the surgery, I had the European Championships. And it was everybody was like, okay, how are you going to do that? I was like, let me show you. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do that, but I had a good physiotherapist and It worked out. At the end, we won silver, so I placed second, and I also won silver for squat, so I got a silver medal for squats. And after that, I've also done a lot of front squats and tempo squats, and also regular squats to practice my rhythm and teaching my body that pushing my knees forward is not causing pain, because when you've been training 2 or 3 years having pain, your body kind of learned that this movement is going to cause pain. So I'm still learning that squatting with pushing my knees forward is okay.
Wow. Wow. Let me ask you something. The patellar tendon injury was something acute, traumatic, so like one day and you hurt it, or was it something progressive?
No, it was traumatic. So it happened when I did, I think, block cleans. And that day, I think I didn't sleep at all. So as we know how important sleep is, but sometimes you have to learn, learn it in a bad way.
And was the rupture complete rupture
No,
of the
it was
tendon? No, partial.
So I competed for 2 years almost with this injury. So it kind of worked, but I was always in pain when I squatted kind of faster. So I almost did tempo squats and I was really like leaning forward. Then it kind of worked. But yeah, split squats were also possible with my shin like this. It was kind of hard. And at the end, I was so looking forward to this injury. Actually, I did German nationals. Knowing that in 2 days I will have surgery. So I also, my second squat was super heavy and it was all over the place. And then we were like, let's skip the third one. So I knew I only have 3 attempts, and then I will 3 attempts of squat and then bench and deadlift, and then I will have my surgery in 2 days. And nobody knew about that, so I didn't really share it.
Okay, so you already explained me why you choose the front. You and your coach choose the front squat. I guess, as you said, is in order to teach you to don't be shy of using your legs and quads. But was it painful for you in the beginning?
No, it was just weird because I've learned that this movement causes pain. So but I'm still learning it, and it's getting better. Because for me it helps when I go fast into the squat and don't do a tempo squat. I think a lot of people can rely on that. So now I'm getting used to being brave and squatting fast, and this helps me to actually move more weights. And I'm constantly sore. My quads are constantly sore at the moment.
Well, I guess they are going to grow a lot.
It's new for them. Also, for me, leg extension is a lot of fun because there was no way I could have done this with that injury because of the pain. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm having a pump in my quads. It's a new feeling for me. And it's really fun to train legs at the moment, to squat and train my quads.
So you don't have any pain now in your knee?
No, I mean, the skin is still numb. But so kneeling is, I don't like kneeling, but I'm also getting used to this. So for example, bird dog rows is kind of hard for me sometimes because, I don't like this position, but I'm forcing myself. I mean, not forcing, but I'm teaching myself it's okay to do that. So it's not a pain that I'm feeling. It's just a weird feeling because when you've had surgery somewhere, you don't like this part being like touched, or I don't know. It's kind of weird to explain.
Just another curiosity. After the surgery, you said you work with a good physiotherapist, and have you already done some scar tissue work on the upper part of the patella, or not?
No.
With manual therapy, no.
No, we squatted in the physio.
Okay.
I mean, we tried to get back to squatting. I wasn't able to squat at the beginning.
Okay. Oh, that's very interesting. Let me give me one moment to translate, ok? Stiamo parlando un attimino di squat e mi ha raccontato una cosa interessantissima, perché praticamente adesso riassumo un pochino la storia abbastanza affascinante. Lei circa 1 anno e mezzo fa si è fatta male al tendine patellare, lo traduco letteralmente, praticamente aveva male al ginocchio, siccome faceva anche le alzate olimpiche prima, oltre a aver fatto powerlifting attrezzato, prima faceva anche le alzate olimpiche, e un giorno facendo un'alzata olimpica si è fatta male al tendine patellare, e mi ha detto che non era una rottura completa, ma una rottura parziale, che però si è trascinata avanti per parecchio tempo. Ha provato in qualche modo per quasi 2 anni a gestirla in qualche modo, ma ha detto che era in costante dolore, aveva sempre male, e tutto questo l'aveva portata praticamente a fare gli squat, che erano diventati un movimento di estensione d'anca e basta, o quasi, tutta inclinata, con le tibie quasi perpendicolari, per appunto usare il meno possibile il ginocchio, usare il meno possibile il quadricipite, però chiaramente gli creava un sacco di problemi. Finché alla fine è andata è andata a farsi operare. Questo era 3 mesi prima dell'Europeo, che se non sbaglio era neanche tantissimo tempo fa, era quello dell'anno scorso, se ho fatto i conti bene coi tempi. E poi è riuscita a recuperare, mi ha detto che ha fatto fisioterapia, insomma ha avuto un ottimo fisioterapista che l'ha aiutata, ha fatto tutto un percorso riabilitativo, e è tornata adesso a fare, insomma, a gareggiare praticamente quasi senza dolore. Ha detto che ha solo un po' di insensibilità su alcune parti del ginocchio e gli dà fastidio stare inginocchiata a terra, ma sta migliorando. E mi ha spiegato tutta questa cosa qua per farmi capire perché nell'off season lei ha tolto completamente il lobar e faceva squat frontale 2 volte a settimana. Ha fatto questo per un po' di tempo, che all'inizio sembrava strano. Infatti la mia domanda era: come mai avete scelto il front squat? E lei, ma lei me l'ha anticipata, e l'ha fatto praticamente sia per riabilitarsi, ma anche per cercare di correggere tutto il movimento che si era alterato da tutto quel tempo con male al ginocchio. E è un classico, no? Un classico compenso di chi ha male le ginocchia è quello di flettere sempre meno il ginocchio, di spostare tutto il lavoro sull'anca, trasformare gli squat in good morning praticamente, e stare a tibie più verticali possibili. Questo è un classico, soprattutto su problemi cronici. E allora lei, nonostante si fosse operata, dopo, per, diciamo, rifidarsi a inclinare le tibie, andare avanti con le ginocchia, ha dovuto farsi tutto un percorso col front squat per venirne fuori da questa forma viziata. Adesso ha detto che è molto piacevole per lei anche allenare le gambe, fare leg extension, fare cose che prima non poteva fare perché appunto era impossibile per il dolore. What about some, how can I say it in English, some dysfunctional pattern that maybe your injury have been creating for a while? I'm not talking only about how much forward your knees are traveling, but I'm talking about asymmetries between one side and another. Maybe you, how can I explain it? When you squat down, you shift on the good leg.
Mm-hmm.
Did it happen?
Before surgery or
Yeah,
after?
yeah, before
Yeah,
surgery.
you could see it also when I deadlifted. Actually, I do conventional deadlifts, and you could really see on this one side the bar was moving away from my body, and it was just heavier than it could have been, because for deadlifts, if you do it right, you need your legs as well. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
And how did you fix it?
they during surgery they
Oh,
repaired the tendon.
oh no, sorry, Leo. I was asking about the asymmetry you had in the deadlift. How did you fix the asymmetry later?
Well, because of the surgery, my tendon wasn't partially torn anymore, and we could rebuild on that. So what we did in the physiotherapy was getting back to being able to do a squat. And I started with stiff leg block deadlifts, then I also RDLs, and then we got back to lifting off the floor and using my legs. So we just did more weight actually every week, so I could rebuild on that. And now that I'm not in pain anymore, I can use both of my legs the same way. And I
Okay.
would now you can't tell there's a difference anymore. Like a couple of months ago, you could still see my one leg. Even for Europeans, you could see it when I deadlifted, like one leg was still a little smaller than the other one.
Okay. And now are they the same size?
I think they are.
Okay.
I don't think you can tell there's a difference.
Okay. And back then, before surgery, how much of a size difference there were?
I don't know. I don't think there was such a big difference. It was just, yeah. I mean, I was still using it, but it was painful. I don't know if there was a muscular difference.
Okay. Okay. Well, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Ok, ho chiesto un'altra cosa che era collegato a quello che mi diceva prima e era riguardo a se oltre alla differenza, diciamo, ai compensi nel tenere le tibie verticali e andare indietro con le anche per non usare il quadricipite, se ci fossero anche delle differenze da un lato all'altro, o quando scendi nello squat mai ti sposti, devi lateralmente diciamo, per caricare il peso sulla gamba buona, e o se c'erano delle rotazioni, ma anche nello stacco, ma anche qua mi ha anticipato lei, me l'ha già detto subito lei, e mi diceva che effettivamente sì, c'erano delle asimmetrie che si vedevano si potevano vedere ancora all'europeo, anche nello stacco, dove appunto si spostava di lato, era un po' scompensata. Per quanto riguarda la correzione di questi compensi, qua metto che dopo la chirurgia, sostanzialmente in tutto il processo di riabilitazione, sono partiti gradualmente, sono partiti anche con stacchi dei blocchi, con stacchi romeni, eccetera, poi progressivamente a movimenti sempre più, diciamo, ginocchio dominanti, e man mano hanno ricostruito il movimento con tutte e due le gambe perché era senza dolore, quindi poteva farlo, ha rimparato a usare le gambe in maniera, diciamo, equilibrata da un lato all'altro, e quindi adesso sostanzialmente non c'è più il compenso. E mi dice anche che a livello di asimmetria di muscolatura, di sviluppo muscolare, prima chiaramente lo potevi vedere, mentre adesso così a occhio, ha detto che non ha misurato, però così a occhio non vede la differenza tra un lato e l'altro. Ok, so let's talk a little bit about squat again and about the way you're training now. So you told me 2 squats a week, both low bar. And how heavy are you going now?
Not very heavy. I don't train that heavy, I think, compared to other people. I would say in powerlifting, but I mean, what do you mean by percentage or?
Oh, percentage, yeah. Not the actual absolute load, because it's hard to do the math, but you can talk about percentage or RP or whatever.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's hard to say. I mean, I do singles, but I do singles above 90%. So I do like really easy singles. Yeah, but I never really do like heavy singles unless it's like 2 or 3 weeks out. But then again, it's not gonna be that exciting. I don't share that much about my training actually, also not on social media. What we do program is rhythm. So it's important for us how the weight is moving. So I'm not gonna say, oh, this was at 7. I'm just gonna say, wow, that looked nice. I felt confident, and that's important for my squat. That I am brave in the hole and that I go down fast and not like slow and anxious. And yeah, and this is getting better every week. So we are practicing a lot of rhythm. At the moment, I do one time is low bar squat, so competition squat, and the other day is tempo squat, where I'm practicing to push my knees forward and to stay a little more upright and not like folding together. Because I'm afraid of using my quads. So that's what we are practicing. And I think once we get into the competition phase, so in 3 weeks, we might gonna do 2 times low bar squats just to practice the rhythm.
Okay. And are you practicing like around 90% singles every week now or not? No.
I don't know what the percentage is, but it's not a lot. Like, I don't think people would ever consider this as singles because it's really light.
Okay. So you're not doing singles now, or
No,
only light?
I do singles, but I think last week my single was at 160 and my
Okay.
is 190.
Let me do the math. Just 1 second.
Just
85%, 84%. Okay. Well, pretty conservative singles, as you said.
that's what we do.
Okay.
Also for sets, we're not going super heavy. Before Europeans, 2 months ago, where we squatted 190, we did the heaviest set was I think 160 for 4 reps, and I wouldn't consider this as super heavy. It was just rhythm, not getting a lot of fatigue, and focusing on the singles. So they get heavier until the comp. So this will be my heaviest single, but not crazy heavy.
How many sets are you doing on the day one?
It depends. I think this Monday I did 5 sets, but we might gonna reduce it a little because I'm really sore. when I get a good rhythm, I can use my quads, and yeah, I'm I'm sore a lot.
Okay.
I would say being modest builds strength. That's what I've learned. I don't need to push the main lifts a lot. Like, for example, my deadlift, I did 225 kilos for Europeans, and I would say that looked kind of good. It was not like my limit. And the heaviest set was, I think, 195 for 3 reps or 200 for 3 reps. That was the heaviest we did. And I think a lot of other people who lift less train heavier. That's what I can see in the gym, or like what I.
You have a more conservative approach, I will say. Okay. How many sets do you, on average, do on the second day of the squat?
Depends. Four sets, 5 sets.
Okay. And do you go up and down with the load in the same session, or do you stay the same? Up and down?
I can stay the same if it moves well, and if I feel like, okay, I'm getting slower, I reduce it. So I'm doing both.
Ok, ok. Allora, mi stavo spiegando un attimino come sono divisi i 2 giorni di squat che sta facendo adesso, che ripeto sono tutti 2 low bar. Il giorno 1 è quello un po' più pesante, un po' più impegnativo, però mi diceva che sostanzialmente non va molto pesante e non va così pesante come fanno molte altre persone, lei tendenzialmente ha un approccio più conservativo. E mi diceva che le singole vere e proprie pesanti non ne fa tante e comunque le fa solo le ultime settimane. Adesso non le sta facendo e mi ha detto che mai fa singole su 1,60, su 160, che lei ha un massimale di 190 kg, quindi viene fuori un po' meno di 85% come percentuale. Però si sta concentrando molto sul pulire il gesto, sull'utilizzare i quadricipiti, sull'inclinarsi troppo, insomma tutte quelle cose che Mari sta ancora un po' cercando di limare dal suo passato infortunio. E comunque tendenzialmente non fa tantissima roba pesante e non le piace andare troppo pesante. Sul giorno 1 metto che per esempio adesso ha fatto 5 serie, però sì, più o meno quel range di volume, e il giorno 2 è una cosa simile, anche là 4-5 serie, cose di quel tipo, non eccessivamente pesanti, non eccessivamente voluminose le sedute. Nel giorno 2 si sta concentrando molto anche sul ritmo, lei lo chiama ritmo, quindi gli dà importanza all'essere sicuro di sé quando scende, non rallentare troppo sto genere di lavori qui, e ovviamente utilizzare i quadricipiti, che era un po' un difetto che aveva. E niente, questo è un po' come è impostato. Mi ha detto che tendenzialmente può avere il carico costante nella stessa seduta, però si gestisce a seconda di come si muovono, di come vanno, di come li sente, se salire un pochino o scendere un pochino. Quindi mi fa capire che c'è anche un po' di autoregolazione all'interno della seduta, non è, diciamo, troppo prestabilito in anticipo il lavoro. Is your training based on RPE, or do you have a fixed load before starting the session?
I would say it's kind of both. It's kind of all of it, because my coach is always there with me. I do have a range, not just a rep range, but also a range for the weight I can use. And depending on that, depending on how the weight is moving, I can go up with the weight. And I always see that as a motivation, like, okay, make it look easy so I can use more. Like I mentioned, more important to us is how the weight is moving. So it's not like, oh, it's a 7 or it's at 8 or 8.5. It's more like, okay, this moved very well. I felt confident. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I could have done 5 more just to tell myself, okay, that was an easy one. But it's both, I would say.
Okay. Are you talking about squat only or in general?
In general.
Ok. Le ho chiesto se c'è autoregolazione con l'RPE o se ha programmi a percentuale fissa con carico fisso. Mi ha detto che è un po' un misto di tutti e due, non sta più di tanto lì a fissarsi su che tipo di RPE era, se era 6, 7, 8, 9, quello che era. Ha detto che guarda più che altro le sensazioni, la qualità tecnica e se le ha sentite bene, veloci o come le voleva, con appunto un certo margine di autoregolazione in base a come le sente. Però appunto un po' il misto del fatto che non va troppo pesante, non gli interessa tirare le serie, un po' il fatto che sta cercando determinate sensazioni, di correggere alcune cose, si basa molto su queste sensazioni e le unisce un po', diciamo, al carico già semi-prestabilito in partenza. Questo è un discorso che comunque valeva in generale, non solo per lo squat, insomma, mi sono fatto specificare che si stava riferendo a in generale tutta la programmazione, non solo allo squat. Ok, so would you like to talk about your bench?
Yeah.
Okay, so you told me you're training 3 times a week now, the bench. Okay, explain me a little bit more.
Okay, I train it 3 times a week. I do. I have my competition day. I have Larson, where I only do like it's a very quick workout, I would say, or training for bench. And then I have a day where I do tempo bench press. So actually, I have 2 upper days where I do chest and back. So I do train bench press, and I have pressing accessory movements, and then I train my back on 2 days. And Larson is on Monday, where I have my kind of SBD day. But since I said I'm doing RDLs and squats, so it's not competition lifts. Yeah. I know there's a lot of women who train bench like 4 or 5 times a week, but yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, this is very interesting because I've interviewed also some Italian girls. We have some good benchers here, and some of them, to be honest, are in different weight classes than the Euros. So, it varies a little bit, but most of the girls here, they bench at least 4 times a week, most of them. And some of them that bench a lot. They bench very, very, very heavy and a lot of volume, much more than you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So is this because you have tried more frequency with the bench and it didn't work, or why did you choose only 3 benches?
I don't feel like I'm recovered when I train it more often. And I don't know, I feel like I have a lot of range of motion, so I need more time to recover. Maybe that's it. I mean, I do have a good arch, but I'm still having like really long arms. So I feel it's hard to compare it, because I also look at all other lifters also in my weight class, and they are usually all smaller than I. So they do have less range of motion. And I think this is also something to consider.
Yeah. That's very interesting. In fact,
like also for squat and deadlift, I have more range of motion. So
well, correct me if I'm wrong. Your best bench is 112. Am I right? Okay. So you are 76. Your best bench is 112, which is a very good bench. But as you said, you have to consider the fact that you are much taller than the average girl in your weight class, and you have let's say in proportion to your height, you have very long arms. So even if you have as you said, I'm just repeating what you said, even if you have a big arch, a good arch, still I guess the shoulder has to move a lot, and to reach the chest you have to extend a lot of the shoulder. So maybe that's why you have to be careful with how much and how often you bench.
yes, and also, I mean, we could maybe in the future we will try it out sometimes, but once you have a running system, you don't want to really change it, because I don't want to get injured. I'm kind of injury free now, and I'm making progress, because 112 for me is a big bench, because I used to not be like a good bencher, kind of. I mean, what is a good bencher? But I wasn't known to have a strong bench. I was like, oh, she deadlifts a lot. And now I can even compete at bench only competitions. I was the overall winner at German championships, German bench nationals, and I had the biggest bench, and also by points I won. So that for me is that made me very happy.
Well, of course. And did you have any problem back then when you tried more than 3 times a week, or maybe on the shoulders or anything?
I don't think I ever tried more than 3 times a week. I
okay.
can't remember. Maybe like back, but no, I don't think so. Like back, I did 2 times a week bench, but there I had more of a bodybuilding approach, like doing everything 2 times a week, and yeah.
Okay, so now you're doing 3 benches, 1 competition, which is on Monday, on your SBD, on your fake SBD day, because one is Romanian deadlift. So,
yes,
okay.
I have Larson that day. So.
Okay, also, yeah. So, And then you have the tempo bench.
Yes, this is
Okay.
actually on Saturday.
On Saturday, okay. And the whole schedule is 5 times a week training, 2 upper body only. So there are 2 bench with the bench and the back. And then the other 3 days, there are 2 in which you have squats and 1 in which you have only a deadlift. Am I right?
That's true.
Oh, okay. That's so hard, but I'm
So
getting it.
it's Monday. Monday is my fake SPG day. Tuesday is off. Wednesday is upper. Thursday is squat or like more quads. And Friday is deadlift and posterior chain. And Saturday is upper again.
Okay.
Mixture of bodybuilding and powerlifting, kind of.
Okay. We will talk about this later.
Okay.
We are going to talk about this. Ok, allora ho chiesto un attimino di farmi una panoramica della panca. Lei, come vi abbiamo detto all'inizio, fa 3 panche a settimana, che in questo momento sta facendo una panca, diciamo, competition style, cioè da gara, una Larsen che possiamo riassumere con piedi su, tipo una paralimpica, simile alla paralimpica come concetto, e una tempo, quindi c'è una variante con la velocità alterata. Mi ha spiegato che sostanzialmente lei fa, per riassumere un po' come divisa la split, perché ci ho messo un po' a capirmi, sui 5 giorni a settimana di allenamento in totale, sono 2 che sono solo upper body, che è i giorni in cui fa panca e complementare di schiena, mentre gli altri 3 giorni, uno su uno c'è la panca, che è quello che abbiamo chiamato falso SBD, perché in realtà fa solo lo squat che è in competition style e gli altri 2 sono uno stacco romeno e la panca Larsen con i piedi su. Però insomma sono tutte e 3 le alzate insieme, che è a lunedì. E poi c'ha un altro squat e un altro stacco che però sono separati, quindi alla fine è come se venissero 3 lower e 2 upper solo, con il lunedì che è un SBD, circa SBD. Basta, questo è un po' il quadro di come è diviso adesso l'impostazione della sua panca. Poi abbiamo fatto una digressione sul come mai fa solo 3 panche, perché tendenzialmente le ragazze, soprattutto nelle categorie di peso medie, fanno molto più spesso, molto più panca, e le metto che secondo lei fa un po' fatica a recuperare facendone di più, anche se in realtà non ha mai provato, e siccome adesso sta andando bene, sta migliorando, ha 112 di massimale di panca, che è un'ottima panca, e gli ha permesso di piazzarsi molto bene in generale anche su gare di alto livello, non vede la necessità di rischiare, diciamo, di fare altre cose un po' più rischiose per modificare una cosa che in realtà sta già funzionando. E dopo abbiamo parlato un attimino di come nel suo caso probabilmente lei fa meno spesso panca rispetto ad altre ragazze, perché essendo intanto più alta rispetto alle altre persone della sua categoria, perché lei è 1,74 m, mentre tendenzialmente le ragazze nella sua categoria sono decisamente più basse, e parliamo anche di tipo 10 cm più basse. E questo comporta anche che lei abbia in generale sotto le alzate, ma in particolare nella panca, un round più lungo, nonostante faccia un buon arco. E a questo si aggiunge il fatto che lei, avendo le braccia abbastanza lunghe, perché ha una struttura da stacchista, diciamo, il ROM che ha nella panca e quanto deve andare in estensione la spalla in discesa nella panca è considerevolmente diverso da quello che mai capita in altre ragazze della sua categoria di peso, e questo è probabilmente uno dei fattori che l'ha fatta spostare su solo 3 panche a settimana, che comunque sta funzionando bene come approccio. And what about heavy singles on the bench? Do you practice heavy singles on the bench?
Same as for the other lifts. I do the
okay.
singles, but not really heavy at the moment, but they do get heavier towards my competition. But I never do my third attempts. I never do in training, like maybe my second attempt. So some people do in training what they do in competition, or sometimes they do more in training than in comp. That's usually not what happens in my training.
Okay. If you practice heavy, moderate or middle weight singles, do you practice them on the competition bench or even in the variations?
Only on competition bench, yes.
Okay, so on your Monday.
Yes. No.
Okay.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, right. Monday is last thing.
Yes.
Okay. On Wednesday. Okay, perfect. And what about the volume? How many sets?
That's something that my coach does. I don't know. I don't want to say too much because it's very individual, and I don't want anyone to copy that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But that's okay.
Okay. And what about repetition range for the bench?
They change. We currently do reps of. Yesterday we had reps of 3. So the reps are lower now since the competition is getting closer. But in the off season, we also do reps of 8 or even reps of 10. So Larson, we do reps of 7 at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the bench, the lift in which you practice with more repetitions?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And is it the deadlift, the one in which you use lower repetition?
At the moment, actually not, because we do cluster deadlifts.
Oh.
Last week I had sets of 5.5, which means I do 5 reps, then I rest for 20 seconds, and then I do another 5. This is actually the hardest because then I rest for 8 to 10 minutes, and because I really need the rest, because I feel like, oh my God, this is, I mean, not heavy, but it's exhausting.
Well,
it's kind of reps of 10, but not really.
well, we can say as a power lifter, we can say that this is powerlifting tense. So they are not really tense, but we would like to call them for 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So would you like to add something else on the bench, or to explain a little bit more something? Oh, I have one question for you. You already told me that you used to compete in gear powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you bench with the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how was your experience in the bench shirt?
It was hard. I didn't like it because, as I told you, I have a long range of motion, and I felt like with the shirt it was harder for me to get in a good arch position, and I didn't really enjoy it because, yeah. But I didn't do it for a very long time. I think I did it for a year, and this didn't feel very comfortable. So, like, now I bench more raw than I used to do equipped back then.
Yeah, because before this podcast, I have to tell you a secret, because before the podcast, I looked in powerlifting, open powerlifting, and I saw if I'm not wrong, 105 on the
Yes.
equipped, and then 112. I said, what? 112 raw, 105 equipped? What's going on here? But I guess it was long before.
Yes, it was long before, so I was a little stronger equipped than raw back then, but now I'm stronger. But I would have to try out again equipped. Also, now I'm lighter, because back then I was 84, and actually, but that day I think I was sick and I lost some weight. And for equipped, it's the worst when you lose or gain weight and the shirt doesn't really fit you anymore. So the shirt for bench was really loose. I did 115 in training, and it moved well, but then, yeah, I only got in 105 because the shirt was very loose.
What about was the shirt painful with your chest area or your breast or anything? No, was it okay?
Yeah, I had a lot of bruises on my arms and also in my on my chest, so it looked kind of scary. And back then I used to teach children swimming, so I always made sure I put on the surfing suits so the parents wouldn't see it, because it does look kind of scary. We have the bruises from the knee wraps and from the suit you're wearing. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's also very, very weird to explain to the others what's going on.
Yes, also my eyes always got red afterwards, and the children were like, "Oh my God, your eyes are bleeding." I'm like, "No, it's just they're not bleeding."
Okay. So, are you planning to compete with equipped anymore or not?
No, it's harder also because you need someone to help you all the time, and not just one person, usually more, to spot you, and it's hard on the body. And I wasn't enjoying it as much as raw, because raw I usually I never squat with safeties. I usually don't need a spotter because I know what I'm capable of doing. And for equipped, it's you make like a small mistake and you have no chance for the bench. You need someone to help you. And raw, you can more adjust and still kind of grind it out, even if you do make a mistake. So yeah, I don't like that.
Ok. Allora, mi ha dato qualche altra informazione su come fa la panca, come è gestita la panca adesso. Allora, la brutta notizia purtroppo è che ha detto che non ci può più di tanto rivelare come sta facendo i dettagli di volume, ripetizioni, eccetera, in questo momento perché preferisce che altre persone non copino quello che sta facendo e quindi anche è una cosa un po' tra lei e il suo coach più riservata. Però sostanzialmente mi ha detto che la panca è l'alzata tra le tre che utilizza più alte ripetizioni e ovviamente non ci sorprende e lo stacco è quello che in linea di massima ci fa meno ripetizioni, però non in questo momento perché poi ridacchiavamo un pochino perché sta facendo adesso quelle che per noi powerlifter possiamo chiamare serie da 10, in realtà sono due serie da 5 vicine, che però le chiamiamo una serie da 10 di stacco e quindi in questo preciso momento in realtà sta facendo anche altre ripetizioni di stacco, però tendenzialmente la panca è quella che fa più ripetizioni e per esempio della panca, quella con i piedi su, fa in questo momento serie da 7 se non mi ricordo male. Però dipende, insomma, sono variabili. In off season metto che fa anche serie da 8 da 10 ripetizioni, insomma, come è normale aspettarci che sia. Poi abbiamo fatto una parentesi sul powerlifting attrezzato, perché lei ha gareggiato anche con la maglia da panca e allora gli chiedevo un pochino come andava, come non andava, perché diciamo, sui record registrati lei ha la miglior panca attrezzata di 105 kg, mentre quella raw di 112 e mi raccontava appunto che vabbè era tempo indietro, dopo nel frattempo è migliorata chiaramente e tra l'altro era anche più pesante quando ha fatto quei 105 di panca, però era stata male, aveva perso un po' di peso, la maglia ovviamente è calcolata su un certo peso corporeo, quindi se tu mai stai male, perdi un paio di chili, la maglia poi ti diventa larga, non performi più bene. Però mi diceva che sì, ovviamente ti grattugiava tutta la pelle, ti creava i famosi ematomi dall'attrezzatura del powerlifting, però in generale non le piaceva, anche se tutto sommato non ha avuto mai grossi problemi e non è mai, diciamo, riuscita a farselo piacere più di tanto o a tirarci fuori il vero potenziale, quindi si è spostata sul raw, anche perché mi diceva che come quello che dicono tanti, per i raw è molto più facile autogestirsi, allenarsi anche da soli senza tante persone che ti aiutano e questo è molto più comodo perché per lei appunto a livello pratico, logistico, anche se deve allenarsi nello squat eccetera, se fai gear devi sempre avere qualcuno che ti assiste se no ti ammazzi. E quindi niente, questo è un po' il fatto che si è spostato e ha abbandonato l'attrezzato. E per quanto riguarda le singole, non mi ero dimenticato di tradurre, il discorso è simile a quello dello squat, nel senso che non fa singole pesanti, non va tanto pesante, in questo periodo ne fa qualcuna ogni tanto e se la fa tendenzialmente la fa sulla panca da gara, ok? Che non è il lunedì ma è il mercoledì. Il lunedì che è quello che è il falso SBD, giorno falso SBD, lì in realtà fa la panca con i piedi su e non fa le singole, le fa al giorno dove fa la panca da gara per, immagino, questione di specificità. Ok, ok. So, would you like to talk about your deadlift? Finally.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so how are you training your deadlift now?
As I said, I do it 1.5 times. In the off season, I don't want to say I don't do it at all, but I don't do competition deadlifts. I do variations since I'm also doing a lot of bodybuilding. And I think that's something that's very different to other powerlifters, because I think a lot of people try to hold on to their strength and I have to train specifically. And this is something that I don't do at all during my off season. So I did push, pull, legs, upper, lower in my off season, which is more of a bodybuilding split. And during that time, I think I did RELs and snatch grip, stiff legged deadlifts off the block. So kind of crazy variation.
Snatch grip,
Stiff.
stiff legged off the block.
Yes.
So the blocks are under your feet or under the weight?
Under the weight.
Okay.
Of the blocks. The weight is off the blocks, which makes you feel very weak because of like the snatch grip feels like you have short. I think this is how people with short arms feel when I do snatch deadlift. That's something I do, and For me, it's okay if I can pull 225 kilos every day. So you have, like in bodybuilding, during the off season, you need to be okay to, I don't want to say to look like shit, but to have more body fat and to not look stage ready. And same for powerlifting. During the off season, you should be okay to not be the strongest you've ever been for like one rep. And yeah, that's what we usually do. And at the moment, I do one-time competition deadlifts. We do cluster work. What I told you is very exhausting. And the other day, I do RDLs, but they are not very pushy.
Okay. Do you usually practice with heavier, not heavier, with higher reps on the Romanian deadlift?
Yeah. I also did reps of, I think, 13 was
Wow.
the height I've done. Yeah, that's exhausting.
Wow. I thought it was illegal to do so many reps. Maybe not in Germany. Okay. And so I guess because you already told me many times, you're not practicing heavy singles, neither in the deadlift. Okay. And how far from the meet is your last heavy session on the deadlift?
I think 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. For squat, it's a week or 10 days, depending. And for bench, it's usually a week out or 6 days. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. And how heavy is the last session for the deadlift?
For the last heavy deadlift, usually my second attempt.
Okay.
For the single, and as I told you, for the rep work, we did 200 for 3 reps, which is, I mean, it's still heavy, but it's not like really pushy. I never do deadlifts at 9 or something, or even more than 8.
Okay, so I guess you usually practice average weight, but with a little bit of a buffer. So correct me if I'm wrong, like 80%, 75 to 85%, that range?
I would have to calculate that.
Oh, tell me the number. I will do for you. I will do it for you.
So I don't know, the 200 kilos for the reps of 3. So if you
which is, I think, is around 90%. Yes, 90%. But as for now, you are practicing with which kind of weight are you managing now in the deadlift for volume?
I would have to calculate that. Wait, let me. So I did 180 kilos for 4.4 reps.
Okay, which is 80%, 81%. Your max is 220 or 225?
25.
Oh, so sorry, I did it wrong. Oh, 80%, perfect.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
But for us, it's important not how heavy we go, but how things move. So I try not, like, my deadlifts never get slower at the lockout. Like, this is an indicator as well. Once they get slower, I'm like, okay, this was too heavy, maybe.
Okay, so you usually are very strong from the floor.
I think both. My lockout is kind of strong. Of the floor, I'm strong. I don't know. I've never failed a conventional deadlift, so.
Oh, you never failed a deadlift?
Not conventional, no. Sumo I did, but it was more like technical stuff. But for conventional deadlifts, I've never failed. And I do RDLs with 180 kilo. So I do 180 for 7 reps without a belt. So my lockout is strong. And off the floor, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, if you put on 250 on the bar, probably I won't get it off the floor. So it's kind of hard to tell where my weakness is. But yeah, I would say I'm strong at both. Maybe around the knees, when it gets like really heavy, I could be like, I'm gonna be shaking. I would compare, Jessica Bittner. When she's so heavy, she's kind of shaking. I would kind of compare my style maybe to that. But yeah, we will see at Europeans. Maybe I have to lift something very heavy. I don't know.
What is your planned first attempt for the European? If you would like to say it,
No, I can't say it.
Okay, it's fine. Don't worry.
And also, I don't know it yet actually, because we always, I mean, we do have a kind of plan and goals, but it always depends on how the prep is going. Usually we do our plan and we're not gonna switch that, even if it's like, oh, if you add another 2.5, you get squat silver, whatever. I'm always like, no, I don't care. I want my total. And I don't want to make any changes unless maybe the third deadlift, where you can kind of, we have an upper range where we're like, okay, if this is going to change something, we can do it. Because you have, for international competitions, I can't have my coach with me. I have someone of the national team who's taking care of me. Yeah.
Ok.
Not everyone gets an accreditation.
Yeah. Allora, per quanto riguarda lo stacco, allora, come avevamo detto all'inizio, lei fa uno stacco e mezzo a settimana, cioè uno stacco competition style e un Romanian deadlift che è inserito nel giorno 1, che è il falso SBD famoso. Adesso in questo momento mi ha detto che ha fatto 180 per... how many reps was there with 180 Romanian deadlift?
7.
7. Mi ha detto che ha fatto 180 kg per 7 di stacco rumeno senza cintura, tra l'altro, che è tanta roba, cazzo. Mentre l'altro giorno, che è quello appunto del giorno 1, mi ha detto che ha fatto l'80% del massimale, lei ha 2,25 di massimale, lei le chiama 4.4, cioè una serie da 4, c'è una pausa variabile, comunque è come se fosse un set unico con una pausa in mezzo, una pausa in mezzo e altre 4, quindi 4 e 4. Comunque anche lì la logica è la stessa che mi diceva prima, che abbiamo detto altre volte, cioè non tira più di tanto, non va più di tanto pesante, non fa singole pesanti spesso, mi ha detto che non ha mai fallito uno stacco regular in vita sua, perché appunto in allenamento non lo tira così tanto e in gara ci arriva con un piano e lo pianifica, ci resta diciamo fedele al piano che ha stabilito, a meno che non ci sia qualche motivo particolare a livello strategico. E poi per quanto riguarda varianti off season, queste cose qui, mi raccontava di una variante che fa in off season molto carina, che è sostanzialmente uno stacco presa snatch a gambe tese dai blocchi, se mi ricordo bene, e poi mi diceva che nell'off season la sua speed cambia e vabbè, adesso non l'ha fatta perché ha fatto una gara non tanto tempo fa, però nell'off season la speed, se mi ricordo bene, era divisa in push, pull, upper, lower. Questo era come era impostato. Più di tanto certi dettagli non me li vuole dire, perché ho intuito che vuole tenere, diciamo, le sue strategie, i suoi piani, i dettagli di come è pianificato un po' più riservate, per forse questioni di non rivelare troppo alla concorrenza quello che sta facendo. E allo stesso tempo non mi ha neanche detto diciamo, qual è il suo piano per come terza prova per la gara di stacco. Questo non me l'ha detto, ce l'hanno in mente, ma dopo insomma si vedrà in base a come va gli allenamenti e il resto. Mentre un'altra cosa curiosa è su quanto pesante fa l'ultima alzata di stacco prima della gara, e mi ha detto che fa circa il peso che fa di seconda prova, e questa alzata qui la fa a circa 2 settimane dalla gara, mentre la stessa roba viene di squat, però è tra una settimana e 10 giorni dalla gara, mentre per la panca è circa 7 giorni dalla gara, che questo è, diciamo, da manuale, come fa la maggior parte delle persone il taper nelle categorie di peso medio. Okay. Let's talk about accessories, bodybuilding work, hypertrophy work. Will you mind explaining me a little bit how are you training now in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy bodybuilding. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's probably one of the reasons training is so much fun to me, and perhaps also the key to longevity as well. I'm a rather tall woman. I'm not small, especially compared to other powerlifters. And even though I'm capable of eating a lot, I still have to fill out my frame, which is very hard to do so, and even harder the more advanced you get. And in my opinion, I have a clear disadvantage to smaller lifters who weigh the same as I do. And all of my accessory work is organized in a way that it complements my powerlifting. So it's not like back exercise of choice, 3 sets. It's also programmed. I also have top sets for my accessories.
Okay, so we have to say that just honest here, you have an amazing physique, and I think it's very hard to find a girl in your weight class with such lower body fat and such muscular development, which is crazy because especially in the upper body, you have a very good upper body. So maybe it's because you have been doing bodybuilding style training for a long time.
Yeah, I've been strength training for 10 years now. And I also started more, I mean, I did weightlifting, I did CrossFit. Yeah, and I also like the bodybuilding kind of style.
Well, and maybe you already said something like this before, but maybe I think this is why your bench has been improving so much, because during the years you keep training your upper body and adding up mass on your frame, on your arms, on your shoulders. So I think this is a very smart move in the long term, especially for bench and especially for girls.
Yeah, I would also say so. I mean, as I said, it's hard. I have still a big range of motion, but it does help me to get like strong in all kinds of movements, like dumbbell bench press, and not just doing also doing a close grip bench press in the off season where I have even more range of motion. So training with a variety of movements.
What are the most used exercises for you now for accessories work? What kind of exercise are you doing now?
For my chest, or
in general?
I do flies. I do shoulder press with dumbbells. I did a PR yesterday. I think I did 27.5 kilos for 12 reps, which was nice. So I do dumbbell bench press. My PR used to be 40 kilos for 5 reps, but that was 2 years ago. So I might get closer to that 45 kilos each. But we will see. It's always hard because I kind of want to push it, but then you have to be careful because of the heavy lifts. Once it gets closer to competition, you have to be a little more careful. And it's something that's maybe different from my training to other people. I'm not afraid of fatigue. I think a lot of powerlifters are afraid. Oh my God, I can't put the bar down in a controlled way because it's gonna add fatigue, and people always let the bar fall down, and that's something I'm not afraid of. But that also helps me to know, okay, I have a lot of fatigue, and before for competition, it's gonna be easier. That's something I always tell myself. For my back, I do lat pull down, I do pull-ups. I did a PR of 24 reps last week.
Of pull-ups? Bodyweight pull-ups?
Yes.
Oh shit.
My coach and I always push each other, but he did this week he did 29 reps. Yeah, so he beat me. And now I have to build back up, but I don't think I can do 30 reps. I don't know.
Wow.
It always have a competition. Like, I'm like, okay, I want to be the best, but in a good way. It's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People
definitely.
show me where I can go, like what I could be also capable of doing.
25 reps on the pull-ups.
24.
24, sorry. 24. Just wait a minute. Do you realize that most of the girls in this planet will dream to be able to do one?
It's like, no, I wrote a pull-up program for this, actually.
Wow. And so you're training.
I used to dream of doing one rep. Like, I'm not a natural, actually. Like, it's taken me 10 years to get there, because the first year, I think it took me a year to get my first pull-up when I started lifting. It was very hard. I think actually when you're a heavier woman, I mean, heavier is like, I was 80 kilos back then, and I wasn't that muscular as I am now. And if you have longer arms, that doesn't make it any easier.
Of course.
Body movements, like pull-up or dips.
So just a little bit of digression. You told me that before you were 80 kilos. Was that the maximum weight you have been?
I think 85 or 86 was the heaviest, but after that I didn't feel comfortable. It was also in the lockdown where I kind of ate a little more, moved less.
Okay.
And yeah. But maybe one day I will go up to 84, but right now I'm feeling good at the 76. I'm making progress, and I don't think I'm as lean as I look like. I mean, I'm quite lean, but I am also very muscular. So
come on, what are you talking about? Yeah, you have striation on your chest. What are you talking about? Come on.
But if you have more muscle mass, you look leaner for a longer time, even when you have more body fat.
Come on, come on. I will repeat myself. Most of the girls here in this planet will dream to be able to do 1 pull-ups and to be not as lean as you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and so how many accessory exercise are you doing each day?
It depends, but I post a lot of my accessories on Instagram. So in my stories, like yesterday, I can just, for an example, I did curls, I did triceps, I did a rowing machine, pull-ups, flies, I think another one, and shoulder press. So I had 6 different movements after bench.
Wow.
Yeah.
But because it was the upper
Day.
body day. Okay.
So movement, like 1 powerlifting movement, and then 6 accessory movements.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. My coach always tells me if you would be like just a powerlifter, then we could also do half of it. So I mean, kind of like this. But I'm like, no, I don't. And I'm also I like the idea of knowing that I put on more muscle mass. So it's always hard for me before comp when I'm like, where's my curls? Why do I have a set less?
Oh no, I'm losing my gains. Look at my arms.
Like this. And I do lose weight before competitions because of that. Not that I'm losing muscle mass, but I think I'm holding in a lot of water when I train a lot of accessories. So this is also good for me because I'm eating very salty and I'm eating a lot. So before comp, usually I like to get my body weight up to 79, 80 because I know I lose weight easily once I take out some accessories. I eat less salt, and then I usually lose 3 kilos and I'm fine. So.
Okay. And how far from the competition are you removing or slowing down with accessories?
I think it starts 2 weeks out, and yeah, 2 weeks out, I would say. But I'm not quite sure. My coach does that. It's kind of happening very slowly, and then I just realize, wait, I haven't had curls in a week.
What's going on?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot the competition. And correct me if I'm wrong, I guess the week of the competition you're not doing accessories.
1 week out, you mean? Or?
Yeah.
No, I'm like a little bit, like, yeah, I still do a little, but not a lot. No, just maybe a little core work or movement work, so I'm feeling well. But no, not 1 week out. I don't really like push something.
Ok. Stiamo parlando un attimino di complementari, lavoro di bodybuilding, eccetera. Allora, come sapete, lei ha un fisico pazzesco. Parentesi, il suo massimo che ha pesato è stato 86, le ho chiesto prima, e adesso mi ha detto che tendenzialmente preferisce stare a circa 79 kg, perché dopo sa che un pochino di peso lo perde, stando un attimo attento al sale, ai liquidi, eccetera, e togliendo i complementari perde quei 3 kg che gli servono per entrare in categoria, quindi questo è giusto per darvi una panoramica. Come sa chi ha visto i suoi profili social, lei è estremamente muscolosa, soprattutto sulla parte sopra, e ci tiene molto al lavoro di bodybuilding, ne ha fatto sempre molto, è 10 anni che si allena, prima di fare powerlifting faceva weightlifting, ha fatto crossfit, ha fatto bodybuilding, ha fatto tante altre cose, e ci ha sempre dedicato molta attenzione alla parte di muscolazione, che dicevamo appunto che secondo noi è anche parte del motivo per cui è migliorata così tanto nel tempo anche di panca e continua a fare progressi. È molto forte anche sui complementari, mi hanno fatto degli esempi di alcuni esercizi che ha fatto, di alcune prestazioni che ha fatto, e ha un PR di di panca con i manubri da 40 kg, ha fatto 5 ripetizioni. Questo però era ancora tempo fa, ha detto che secondo lei può fare anche meglio adesso. E una cosa che secondo me è incredibilmente rara come prestazione, ha fatto 24 scusa, trazioni alla sbarra a peso corporeo, l'ha fatte di recente. Queste, cioè, ragazzi, 24 trazioni a peso corporeo sono tante per chiunque, ma per una ragazza è una prestazione incredibile. Perché io scherzavo sopra, dicevo, cioè, magari a te non sembrano così impressionanti alcune delle cose che stai dicendo, però io penso che la maggior parte delle persone, delle ragazze nel mondo sognerebbe di riuscire a farne anche solo una di trazione, cioè è già un traguardo quello. In generale come complementari ne fa abbastanza, mi ha detto che nei giorni dove fa solo upper body fa la panca e poi fa 6 complementari, e un po' di tutto, gli esercizi che sceglie sono un po' di tutto, mi ha fatto degli esempi di panca manubri, croci, braccia, lat machine, insomma un po' tutte le classiche cose, nulla di sconvolgente. Mentre per quanto riguarda cose un po' più interessanti, mi ha detto che a circa un paio di settimane dalla gara inizia a ridurre un pochino, a rallentare con i complementari, e la settimana della gara cioè, fa molto poco o quasi niente di complementari, insomma, come è prevedibile. Gli ultimi giorni, quando vuoi fare il taper e tutto quanto, non ci va pesante su quello. Ok, I'm thinking about something else because I'm already asked you everything. Oh no, what about back accessories movement? You told me lat machine, pull-ups, rows. I've seen maybe some videos of yours doing T-bar rows. Oh no, not T-bar, was chest supported rows.
Yes.
Okay, does it bother you the pad on your chest, on your breast? No.
Depends. I do have a lot of PMS where I hold a lot of water in my body, and it's actually all in my boobs. So during that period, my coach also gives me an alternative, but I'm okay with the pain. It's kind of painful then, but yeah, it's just right before I get my period that it's painful, but usually doesn't bother me. I'm doing T-bar at the moment.
Okay, without the chest support.
With the chest support, but it's not that painful.
Okay, yeah, I'm asking because sometimes some girls have some problem with this kind of exercise because it's a little bit painful to push, but it's okay.
You can bring your upper body a little more, so you don't have your rest like right on the pad. That could help. Then you're kind of on your toes, but for me that works as well.
Because you're taller.
Yes.
Okay, so let's change the topic. Would you like to talk about nutrition a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so how is your nutrition like now?
I eat around 3,600 calories.
Wait, 3,600?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
So I'm in a little calorie surplus because I lost some weight prior to Europeans. Also, I got a little sick, and usually before the comp, as I said, I'm losing also a little weight, and then you have to build up because the week after the comp, I usually don't train. So now I'm building back up, and I also track my calories, obviously, but this is not a must do for everybody, but I do it, and I track my calories and my macros. I do believe that I can manage my weight very well. I used to compete in the 72 class where I was very lean and I really had to watch everything I eat. And I competed in powerlifting, but I had a full old school bodybuilding diet with lots of chicken, rice, and oats. But the only difference to now is that I still have a lot of chicken, rice, and oats, but with a lot more flavor. And since I've gotten more muscular and there's no 76 kilo weight class, it really helped me from a mental aspect and physiological aspect to get into a much healthier state. As you can imagine, being very, very lean for a very long time as a woman is nothing I would recommend. So to all the ladies out there, go eat and train heavy. And yeah, I do look very lean now, but I used to be like super lean when I was back in the 72 weight class. So that was not healthy. I couldn't really sleep very well. I didn't progress on the bench. So now I have more body fat, also more muscle mass, and I feel healthier now.
Okay. What about your macros now? On average?
200 grams of protein, 400 to 500 grams of carbs, and 80 to 100 grams of fat. Sometimes, I mean, yesterday I had pizza, so my fats were a little higher, but that's okay. So I'm not like super strict on, okay, I always have to hit 80 grams of fat or whatever. So for me, it's important that I still enjoy life, and it's the average of the week that's important to me. So if I have one day a little less carbs, that's okay. Then I just add another carbs the other day.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. How many carbs?
400 to 500 grams.
Okay. Okay. How many meals do you usually have?
Not too many, actually. I have my breakfast. In the last weeks, I got pretzel before training. I like that, having more salt before, because in the morning I usually eat porridge, whey, fine oats, water, and a banana, and it's not very salty. So for me,
for the pump.
Yeah, for the pump, the pretzel is very nice. So in the warm up, I'm like, oh my god, I already have a pump. That's nice. Then I have a pre or intra workout. It's a pump booster, but it's non-stim, so it's just it has salt, electrolytes, and cluster dextrine. I add that as well, so I have carbs in my workout. After my training, I eat a protein. I drink a protein shake. It's 40 or 50 grams, and then I have a meal in the evening, and usually like 1 or 2 hours before bed, I have a late night snack where I have maybe oats or something like that to have more carbs.
So it's just a normal basic average, I would say, diet of somewhere between bodybuilding and powerlifting.
Yeah, and this used to be like super strict when I was in the 72 weight class. Back then I was on 2,300 calories, and I was really like eating the same every day.
How many calories, sorry?
2,300.
Okay.
Back in the 72 weight class. And now it's a lot more. I mean, it is a calorie surplus, 3,600. But I feel like I'm more muscular now, and I can recover a lot better and I can sleep very well.
How many calories do you think is your maintenance level? Because with 3,600, you're gaining weight now, right?
A little, yeah. It's just
a little bit.
Surplus. So maybe 3,300, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how much do you weigh now? 70.
77.
Okay, and the goal is 79.
I want to go up to 79 or 80. I mean, it always depends, because when I get my period, I retain a lot of water,
Of course.
up to 3 kilos. So, but I know about that, and I know when the next competition is. So I know that I won't be heavier because I won't have my period during that time. So I'm okay with going up to 79 or 80 kilos. But if for Worlds, I knew I was gonna have my period, so I competed also in the 84 because I didn't want to cut, and it didn't make any difference because for the placement, because sometimes 76 and 84, they're not that. There's not a big of a jump. How do you say that? When it comes to the totals, like the first 3, you have like a big difference, but then it's kind of the same.
Okay.
So it's not.
So, are you on your birth control now?
No.
Oh, so are you able to plan so much ahead for the period and the competition? So you already know and you're sure that, oh wow, fantastic.
Quite regular. I mean,
nice.
That's good.
Okay. And what about back then when you were eating 2,300 back to stay in the 72? You already told me that you have some problem with sleeping, you were tired. What other side effects did you have back then?
I was injured more often when I trained. I mean, not injured, but I was having nagging pain somewhere, and I was hungry a lot. Because if you have 2,300 calories, even though I was eating a lot of vegetables and stuff, I was still feeling, okay, I don't have enough to fuel my body. And my bench wasn't making any progress, so I pressed in training what I pressed in competition. Kind of. And I also had to do a water cut. 372.
Ok. Ok, just one moment. Allora, ho chiesto un attimino di farmi una panoramica della nutrizione, di come sta gestendo la nutrizione. Allora, mi ha spiegato molto bene, molto nei dettagli, è stato gentilissimo. Allora, mi ha detto che lei traccia sostanzialmente tutto quello, cioè, non in maniera fiscalissima, però mi ha detto che traccia le calorie. È stato interessante perché ha detto, ovviamente, traccio quello che mangio, il che rende l'idea di cosa vuol dire sport ad alto livello. E in questo preciso momento lei sta mangiando 3600 calorie, che sono parecchie, non è così frequente trovare ragazze che mangino tutte queste calorie, e mi ha detto che per lei sono un leggero surplus, perché in questo momento pesa 77 circa, se mi ricordo bene, e l'obiettivo è quello di arrivare circa a 79 poco prima della gara, per poi col giochetto che abbiamo detto prima, no? Dei liquidi eccetera, entrare dentro in categoria. 3600 calorie sono divise più o meno in 80-100 grammi di grassi, dai 4 ai 500 di carbo e circa 200 di proteine, anche qui nulla di fantascientifico, nulla di strano, più o meno classico. Anche sulla scelta dei cibi, quello che fa, vedo che tempo fa, quando era nella categoria di peso più leggera, che faceva molta più fatica a starci dentro, era diciamo molto più fiscale e limitata, con una classica dieta vecchio stampo, di quelle rigidissime da bodybuilding, no? Mentre adesso è molto più flessibile, ha molto più libertà. E mi ha dato degli esempi, mi ha raccontato un pochino, non è che mangi niente di strano, di particolare, è una classica dieta che potrebbe essere considerata una mezza via tra bodybuilding e powerlifting. Mi raccontava che gli piace mangiare anche qualcosa un po' di salato prima dell'allenamento, per appunto avere un po' di sale in più, e insieme a un intra-workout che prende, dove ci sono dentro un po' di sali minerali, un po' di zuccheri, in modo da avere un po' più anche di pump durante l'allenamento. E comunque si è accorta tanto della differenza nelle prestazioni, nel suo benessere, tra adesso a 3600 calorie rispetto a tempo fa, quando cercava di stare nella categoria di peso più bassa, dove doveva tagliare molto le calorie, stava a circa 2300 e diventava matta per starci dentro senza sforare la categoria. Ha detto che adesso tendenzialmente, oltre a sentirsi meglio, aver fatto progressi in panca e aver più massa muscolare in generale, dorme meglio e ha avuto anche molti meno dolori, molto meno fastidi. E questo è un altro aspetto chiave, secondo me, da tenere presente, che se ci si forza troppo a stare troppo leggeri rispetto a quella che è la propria struttura, spesso vengono fuori problemi con il recupero e acciacchi e infortuni. Così a stima mi diceva che secondo lei probabilmente c'ha un mantenimento adesso come adesso di 3300 calorie per stare a mantenersi come peso, che è molto interessante, perché sono calorie alte rispetto a quello che spesso si trova in giro per le ragazze di circa questo peso. Ok. Well, to be honest, I'm done with the question. Do you want to talk about something else? Do you want to add something more?
I think you're really good at remembering everything I said.
It's very hard. It's extremely hard. Also, because from the outside, this seems very, 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 very easy. But while you speak, I have to remember what you're saying, to take notes, to think about the next question, and remember it, how to translate in Italian. And while I'm translating, I have to think about the next. It's a mess. It's a mess.
But I mean, I do understand what you're saying in Italian, and it was everything that I was talking about.
Oh.
So it's like you have the text that you're reading, but you know it.
I have some notes, to be honest, but just some notes to remember the numbers and such.
Yes.
But I'm getting better. I'm getting better a little bit. Doing more podcasts. I'm doing better.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to add something more? Do you want to talk about anything else? Because I think we have talked about pretty much everything.
I think so too.
Okay, so Leah, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. I wish you the best for your next competition.
Thank you.
Okay, where do people can find you?
They can just type in my name on Instagram, YouTube. I have a website. And yeah, if there's any questions, you can always write me on Instagram, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.